Watch this video before taking your vehicle in for any paint and body work. The paint on this BMW is in really rough shape. The previous paint job is just flaking off everywhere and it's become a real eyesore. My game plan was just to pull the hood, buy a new bumper, find a local shop to paint them up, and then throw them back on. Instead, what I got was a masterclass on the ins and outs of what actually goes into painting a car from some veterans of the industry. Now, I know how to fix a car mechanically. In fact, I spent the last month doing just that on this very BMW. We fixed oil leaks, coolant leaks, suspension issues, check engine lights, drive shaft vibrations, but when it comes to paint, I am absolutely clueless. So let's go talk to the professionals. Today we're heading down to Quality Body Works in Eureka, California, here in Humboldt County, to get their opinion on the condition of the car and find out what it'll take to get this BMW looking right again. So we're here at Quality Body Works, Eureka, California with Ross, the GM. Thanks for having me down, man.
You know, so the bumper, I think you made the right call on replacement of the bumper.
Yeah.
So we'll put some paint on that. So we're also going to be painting your hood. And the issue there is we'll have a pretty long line there to your fender. So that's a concern that we've talked about is, okay, we're going to strip the hood down and repaint the hood. We're putting a new bumper on. So great. So these two will be, you know, our best effort at matching and getting those colors to really match the rest of the car. I think all the material is gonna have to come off.
Gotcha. Strip the whole hood down to bare metal. What do you think we should do with the bumper in regards to while the car is here before I get out of here?
Once we remove parts from a car, we always hold on to those parts until we are completely finished with the process.
Yeah.
Because you just never know, a part may need to come off of that, a bracket, a clip, or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, you know, again, this is atypical, but
this is atypical.
With this situation, we've cleared out a stall for you.
Oh, cool.
So where we can have you to pull this bumper off and get the hood off and let you do the labor, so we can show your viewers that, and then we'll keep the process going, and once everything is stripped down, we'll move on to our next step of getting it over to our paint
Really
department.
appreciate you clearing out that stall for me. I was just expecting to knock it out in the parking lot for you. This place is really nice, guys. Probably the nicest body shop I've stepped foot in. All right, what a treat. One of their techs, Jeff, is out today, so I got a stall inside the shop. Let's start by stripping down this hood, then we'll get the front bumper off of there, then we're gonna pass the car over to them. It's been glued and they painted over the little grommets, so we'll probably need to knock these out, put in new ones. All right, now let's work on getting these kidney grills out of here. How you doing?
Good, man. Nice
Good. Hey, Alec.
Kenny. Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Kenny.
You're the other Kenny.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha.
We got three here.
Wow.
Can you shut the hood for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
See how everything looks all as
Yep,
one.
you got it.
Sweet.
Hood lines are pretty off too. The car had a previous collision up here in the front right. Yeah, this car was pretty ridden hard. Get this harness out from the hood. All right, now we got bumper. This bumper bracket over here was super loose. All right, front bumper's off. This is gonna be the cause of our bumper issue here. You know, this inner fender well just is not as strong as it used to be. You see some dirt collecting there. You can see this was trying to hit and massage back into place. See, this side's all nice and bitching and straight. It's a lot stronger. So see if there's any attachment points missing. And that's gonna be because that tore up there from that accident and them trying to get this inner fender straight. See some damage there. So we're gonna try to massage that back into place as best as possible. But you can see this ground bus took a big hit too. I think that's okay because we don't have any electrical issues right now, but this is gonna be a little problematic. Let's see if we can knock out this auxiliary fan cartridge real fast while we're here. because then we can test fit the bumper. Let's mock this thing up without bumper brackets. Let's do is put bumper brackets in it. All in all, it's looking pretty good. I like that rear fender line. This bumper's gonna come up a little bit. So it's gonna go like that, and then I'll be able to adjust that body line out of the slots there on the bumper bracket. Little damage there. These guys are gonna clean this thing up, I think, though. And then if this side were to come up, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty clean. A little bit of adjustment on the bumper bracket on this side too. I think we're looking pretty good. All right, now I need to get this fender well out. Since we're going into the fenders, we need to get these side markers removed. All right, we are looking pretty good. Front bumper's mocked up. Now it is going to be adjusted a little bit. We don't have that inside support in, that big aluminum support. We also need to get the trim back on it, but I just wanted to get it test fit per Ross's instructions. Also get the headlights pulled so we can squirt those little trim pieces underneath the headlights. And then we also pulled the fender wells so they can get access to this inner lip, as well as these front trim pieces and the side markers so they can do some work on the fenders, because we're gonna be doing some blending on these fenders. We're here, we might as well do it right. And if you're gonna do it right, if you're gonna do it once, do it right. So I think we're in really good shape. Last step is to knock out the lift supports, the 4 13mm bolts holding this thing in, lift it off, bring it over there, and we are done. Sweet. Awesome. Appreciate it, man. All right, we are all stripped down and ready to go. Front bumper's off, the front fan shroud is off. We got both fender wells out, we got both side markers out, we got both front trim pieces out. Hood is off, that's all stripped down. We have the hood stripped over here, ready to get stripped to bare metal and then repainted. We have the aftermarket bumper skin that is ready for primer and paint. And then I got all of my supplies neatly tucked over there on my own little rack. Super cool. All right, time to call an Uber and catch a ride home. Super grateful for the opportunity to be able to tear this car down in the shop. Really cool to be able to meet the guys. This facility just continues to impress me. So let's go get home, order up some parts. I'm gonna get back to you guys when this thing's all painted up, and we get to put it back together.
1 day later.
We are back at Quality Body Works. I got a text from Ross yesterday. He invited me down to check out the sanding process on the hood. So let's bring the camera, go see what they got going on. Man, I really like this organization. So these are their 4 prep booths. These left 2 are heated, and these are basically used just for sanding, prepping, and then they use those 2 heated bays for primer. They have these filter elements inside, and I believe these are drawn off a vacuum, and then all the air and dust goes down into these filter assemblies down here. And it is just amazing how little dust there is in this shop. Whatever dust collection system they are using, it is quite impressive. Crazy, so that's the old paint color right there. They just squirted over it. It's starting to look like a jawbreaker. It's probably gonna take a lot of sanding work home with those 2 coats plus clear. Hopefully there's no bondo. Hopefully you guys can hear me with this fan running. Let me show you this hood. So here's some of the original paint. There's the first layer. There's the previous paint. There's the original paint. There's the original primer. And now we're down to the bare metal. I thought the bare metal was looking pretty good so far, but we do have one dent right there. And then we also have a really good dent right over here. So this is gonna have to be bondoed and filled with mud. Gonna have to talk to Ross on what he wants to do about that. This thing has been a lot of labor. Ryan's been sanding for about an hour, and this is where we've gotten so far. Other than that, I'm starting to feel pretty good about it. It looks like a jawbreaker, doesn't it? Anyways, guys, I just wanted to get down here and show you guys some of the sanding process. The boys are out on lunch, so I think I'm gonna head back to the barn, start working on some of my other content, but they got a long ways to go on this. And then we can finally get it sprayed. We're also gonna be working on the fenders here, and let me show you a little bit about what we're gonna be doing. So like we discussed with Ross, if we go with just the hood here, we're gonna have a really, really hard color line between the front bumper and these fenders. So we're gonna blend and feather into these fenders, and we're gonna try to stop sort of around this mark. But like I showed you earlier, there's a lot of drips down in here on this edge. There's a lot of drips down here, like that right there. So we're gonna try to knock all those out, and then Kenny, the painter's gonna try to touch up some of these areas here as well, where there's been a little bit of scrubbing and some of that blue color showing through. Also, this thing was completely glued in place. All the tabs were snapped off, so after I got that removed yesterday, I ordered up a new one here for the passenger side. I'll try to pop down later on this week when they're making more progress on the hood, hopefully when they're squirting it and when they're doing the bumper as well, because I really want to show you guys some of the behind the scenes. I personally have never seen this type of bodywork before. You know, I worked in strictly a repair shop, and we would sub out all the bodywork jobs, or we'd just remove the bumpers, send them out and have those sprayed. So this is a new experience for me. I really want to learn as much as I can while I'm here at the body shop, and I want to try to share as much information as I can with you guys so you can learn there at home too. Made it down to Quality Body Works. Let's go get an update. So you guys said you normally don't seal the hoods, but in this situation you did, so you can catch the highs and the lows.
Yeah, so after we had completely stripped all material off of the hood, we found a lot of old body filler, so we, extracted that, sanded that off, and it was pretty clear, when you're feeling it, you could feel highs, lows, a little bit of everything, but
yeah.
And so typically at that point it's bare metal. It's going to go over to our metal workers, our body technicians, and they're going to start doing the metal work on it to get it nice and flat. But in this case, we applied a coat of sealer and did a quick blocking just to kind of help the process, to make sure that we're not going to miss some of these dents. It may hopefully help our technician just have a little bit easier time tracking all these dents down. And so as you can see, there's quite a bit of character on this hood. And this kind of goes back, and this is shaping up to be a really good example. So here Mr. Ken Fox is wiping down with M600, which is a cleaning product before we ever start doing our metal work. So
gotcha. It smells like it's maybe like a solvent base?
Yeah, it's a mild solvent, yep.
Like a sort of grease and wax remover almost?
Exactly.
Cool.
And so he's gonna, and that also gives it a shine, so you can kind of see those spots a little bit from a different light and angle.
I did not expect to see this dent so deep.
Yeah, and so that was, it was hidden by filler.
Yep.
And that's, so, and this is where, this is a perfect example of like cost effectiveness, right? So we're starting to flirt with, I think a OEM BMW hood was $1,700, which is obviously pretty expensive. But as you're seeing the amount of work that goes into it, when the shop labor rate's around $100 an hour, those hours start adding up rather quickly.
Yeah.
And then it's, it doesn't make sense to just replace the panel on the front end.
So you factor in removal of the hood, stripping it down, which was multiple hours of hitting it with 80 grit on the DA. And then getting into hitting it with that, what was it, like a flat block almost?
Yep, and that's taking the block to, and then these, we're using a soft block with these curved surfaces, but.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
And then on top of that, sealing and then sanding that down to discover the highs and lows, and then we have to get into the mud work.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, now we're potentially ready to paint.
Exactly. So, and all these highs will have to be kind of stamped down, and at that point, then we'll be applying, body filler, and then we're blocking it again to get it smooth. So, still, I think it's ultimately, in this case, it'll still be probably a little more cost effective to be doing the repairs, but it's where you can see how these costs start to add up rather quickly.
100%.
I would venture to guess Ken will be on this thing for the rest of the day, and then probably into tomorrow as well, just doing the metal work. So that would kind of set us up for, I would say, best case scenario, maybe tomorrow afternoon we're starting to move this thing back to our paint department and start that process. So.
Cool. Yeah, it is. It's really cool to get the insight though from the body shop perspective of things, because from the DA and the different grits to the sealer, like this is all new to me, and I think it's going to be new to a lot of the viewers as well.
It's turning into a cool opportunity where we don't realize we have a lot of these same conversations, because people, well, can't you just strip it?
Yeah.
And we hear that probably once a week.
Yeah.
And I was realizing we've never really done a demonstration like this, so it's a great opportunity, you know, to show the process and why it's not always just a matter of ripping some paint off.
It's been a huge surprise and learning experience to me just to firsthand see the labor that's going in it. I think just watching Ryan get after it with that DA was like the first big eye-opening moment. I was like, oh, okay, you don't just slap a stripper on it. Like, it takes hours and hours to get this down just to bare metal, and then we can actually begin the process of getting it back and straight again. So awesome. I did catch the content that you sent over on the fenders too. I think all really good information. Is there anything you want to go over on that?
We can walk over there at a point where they're pretty much ready to go. So some of the hazards that you run into, you know, in this case is like we're running into where that paint's flaking.
Yeah.
So even though we're just blending, this is where things can you know, that thread, you keep pulling the thread off the sweater.
Yeah.
Also, we were looking at,
you were talking about that tape line here on the inside.
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers that we don't pull paint, and I think Roland ultimately is satisfied. After he did the primer on this side, that's what it was. He was saying kind of this will be the telltale if when he pulls that tape off, if it brings the paint with it. Fortunately, it did not.
Yeah, so where were you referring to when you're talking about that soft tape line? Like, I think I may have seen something in the past in regards to them taping off, but are you hitting this lip here?
Yeah, they'll run the tape where the sticky side is here. They'll run it along here, and then they peel it back.
Okay.
And what that does is it makes a softer line as they can apply over this edge.
That makes sense, and then it sort of blends down into the gap of the tape folding out?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And so your concern on that is when you do peel that tape off, whether that inside paint there still has decent adhesion?
Well, pulling that paint with the tape because of the quality, with some of the other issues that we were seeing where like some of that paint is kind of flaking off.
Yeah.
If we start pulling paint off, now we got to go back and seal and prime, and it's just adds another more steps to the process.
That makes sense. You guys have definitely put some labor in on these fenders too.
Yeah, and that's just it. There's always, you know, just a little bit more than meets the eye.
Yeah, so we got Roland here. He was the one working on some of these fenders here. So I was just curious in regards to what you guys use to sort of knock down this clear and give it the finish that we're looking at now.
So on a blend panel, our goal is to not rip through the clear coat.
Okay.
That gives us a foundation to build on where we don't have to worry about any kind of solvent issues, wrinkling, anything like that.
Just want to scuff the clear without burning all the way through.
Exactly. You just want to scuff on this natural clear coat and basically knock down that peel, that textured look that it has, so we can apply our own on top of that.
Okay.
And so what we did here, any blend panel, we use a gray Scotch-Brite scuff pad.
Yep, I use a lot of Scotch-Brites at the home garage, so.
Yeah, so basically what we do is we will go and hit every edge, you know, a finger width apart, anywhere. Basically, you're trying to hit all these edges to where you don't have to put a DA on a spot that it might burn through, any of these edges.
Gotcha.
So I'm Scotch-Briting all these edges, kind of down around too. You want that clear coat to really wrap around the panel. And so the more scuff you have on the very edges, the better. That's going to wrap around and really hang on there. And that's what's going to keep the paint on there.
Gotcha.
Rather than that's a lot of the stuff you could see, maybe even on some of these other panels is a peeling clear.
Yeah, and I've noticed it on some of my other cars too.
Yeah, and that would be basically attributed to not a good enough scuff underneath. Not a good foundation for it to build off of.
That makes sense.
So you can see here also in this in this little lamp pocket, we have peeling clear here that actually peeled out onto the face. I wet sanded that to get that line out of there.
Just to sort of minimize the spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it knocked back
Yeah,
down, feathered back in.
So it looks, most cars have at least 2 coats of clear coat. So this might be just the first coat of clear coat, and there's another one underneath it. If you break through that he will have to base that. You cannot just re-clear over that. It'll look, you'll see it.
So once you go down into base,
Once you
there's no going back.
Yeah, once you break that clear coat, if I burned through on this edge here, I would have to base it. And then you're sacrificing your color match here, because if the color's not perfect here, this is the end of the blend panel. Ideally, we're supposed to be basing across the front here.
Yeah.
And preserving the color match that it already has just by re-clear coating the rest of this panel.
In order to take it from this flat finish back to a gloss, if you just reapply a clear, it will bring that brilliance back.
Exactly.
Got it. And so then up here, we're looking at different types of fillers to check for high spots. It looks like here you guys are probably using this to fill in some of these smaller rock chips.
Yeah, so what we do here, especially at Quality, we have it's a 50% rule. And just out of courtesy, this is a blend fender.
Yeah.
Required no base from us. But we have a brand new bumper butted here, so our color match is gonna butt here. So we will kick our color into this fender, so it goes from our solid colored new bumper into a tapered from our color into the previous color. That's where our transition will be. So in that instance that we will have base on the front half of this fender, our 50% rule is 50% of the panel, pick it up. So all these just little chips and stuff like that, we have a little yellow glaze we'll smear in there, and we'll wet sand that smooth. So when he bases over the top of that, all those chips are gone. You have a new looking front end of this
That
fender
makes sense.
to match into your new bumper. So this side had actual repair work.
Yeah, this side's a little rough.
So it also had previous paint job, had some runs dipped down under the wheel well here. Some flaking paint from just subpar prep work, I would say.
Yeah, poor adhesion.
So what we did is just go in and go ahead and smooth that up and keep it as small as possible. Remember, we're not trying to sacrifice our blend room here.
Yeah.
So we try to keep this as tight as possible around this wheel well. Hopefully he can just base and kind of taper that in. Luckily, we also have a molding that goes here that breaks the color up.
Okay.
From it, just visually, it'll break the color up from this area. So if he can keep that nice and tight in there and then still take this upper half, again, we also have a hood as well that'll be dropped down in. So he might even kick color just over the top side of this fender all the way back.
Gotcha.
You know, just to make everything blend in.
So
nice.
ideally we would have kept it a sharp 50, but because we kept going back and we had bright blue showing through the base coat and stuff, we need to cheat this fender back a little bit more. So we're almost doing like an 80% on this fender to try to save some of these runs, some of that flaking, and just some of that old ugly base coat shining through.
Yeah, you definitely would want to pick something like that up, even on a blend panel. Just something that severe of broken paint. You can clear over the top of it and try and lock it in, but you will be back in the same situation in a few years. It really honestly, any paint job comes down to the prep work.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense. Cool. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, man. Really appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for the info, dude.
Yep.
All right, so Kenny, one of the body technicians here at Quality Body Works, is going to start getting this hood knocked down. We have 15, 20 plus high spots. He just pointed out these two lows to me. If I drag my hands up here across, we have almost like a hump here, and then it dips down into these two little lower spots where we can see the sealer wasn't touched with that block. We also have this huge gouge over here. We have a little bit of a high spot on the side of that. I assume maybe from it getting pushed up. We got another high over here. You can see we're down to bare metal. A little bit of a high here. These ones I can't really feel with my hand, but it just kind of goes to show that what you can't see with the naked eye. I think this sealer too is a pretty cool little trick to actually show you what's going on. Kenny here is just using that sharp end to get a little bit more pressure, and he's just trying to knock through that high spot to where he can get a nice physical feel on it, then hit it with this 120, and that 120 is going to give us a good surface to bond that bondo to. This is some tedious work and it takes a lot of time, and I have a brand new understanding of how much labor actually goes into these body panels now. So what's this stuff you got mixed up here? Is that more of that sealer?
No, this is glaze.
Gotcha. Now is glaze sort of like an in-between between the body and potential bondo, or does it sort of act as a bondo maybe?
Glaze acts as a bondo, you just don't want it too thick.
Got it. So it's more of the more minute type stuff.
Yeah.
Bondo would be for big, thick stuff like this big dent over here, and then you'll be using this glaze for some of these more real shallow, low spots.
Yeah.
Keep it real thin. Looks like a great texture, consistency to work with. Looks really clean on the application, but that probably is just you with your experience. Working down that soft bondo, and then here's that finishing glaze that you can see on all these high spots. Oh yeah, you can see those right
there.
Right there. We got pinholes. Little compressed air just shows the porousness. You can feel the texture on that too, but boy, that's pretty solid so far. I mean, if you were to half-ass it, you could probably go right over there, but you still probably show some of those pinholes in the base coat. You'd have to go real heavy to fill those in. All right, so a little touch of cream hardener. I'm sure you've probably just gotten really good over the years at just knowing exactly how much hardener to use.
You use about half of what the circle is.
Gotcha. Just gonna do a layer of glaze over all of it.
See that?
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing how it filled in like that. That even shows more the highs and lows. So instead of driving yourself crazy trying to catch all the highs, all the lows, just put a nice even coat, sand it down to a nice smooth finish.
Make it one.
Make it one. I like it. So we are back at quality, and the boys have been putting in some serious work on this hood. When we left off, Kenny was still getting these low spots filled in with that bondo and getting some of these high spots tapped down. They use that sealer to really show the texture, and now it looks like we have a beautiful coat of primer, and this thing is masked up and ready for paint. They did a really clean job on this masking, and today we're jumping into the paint side of things. So I'm really excited to see this hood get over into the paint booth and see what these guys can do. I've never seen a professional paint job like this firsthand, so it's going to be a great experience for you guys and for me, and a great learning experience to see the process of how things go. What's up? How you doing, man? Here, so Kenny just popped over and wanted to show me a photo of the hood. After I left the shop, he still had a lot more work to do. Everything there in the center is a nice thin coat of bondo, of filler, so we can get all those high spots sanded down. And then we also have some areas here. So there's a lot of labor that went into getting that hood straight just so we can get it primed and into paint. But you saw the photo, guys. Kenny said he put over 16 hours just into the mud work on this hood, getting it nice and straight. And I thought this was going to be a straight hood to start with. I was completely wrong. From the people that I've talked to, they always say that preparation is the most important part to get a good paint finish, you know, and the paint is a magnifying glass for the prep that's underneath. And these guys definitely went above and beyond with the prep. It's even evident just in the masking job that they did. You can see that nice clean rolled edge on the masking tape there that Ross was telling us about. So we're hoping that that will allow the paint to sort of just flow in there and sort of gently lay down to give us a nice blended edge. Same story on the hood. Really nice preparation. Can't even see where that 1/4 inch dent was on the front right. There's Kenny working his magic, getting the paint booth free for us.
So what I'll start with is I'm going to just plug in my air hose with a blower. I'm going to go around and blow everything off, use a tack rag, tack it all off just to get any dust off. Because that bumper, it's actually kind of weird. That bumper, usually a lot of aftermarket parts come pre-primed. That one was raw.
which was actually a good thing because a lot of the aftermarket primers they're garbage.
Yeah.
So once it's all blown and wiped and tacked, use an adhesion promoter, and then I'll seal that, and then I'll start with basically while that's setting up, just for the sake of continuity, I'll put what we call a blending additive on those fenders. Okay. And that just kind of lights them up so I can look at them, make sure there was a couple spots by the little marker lights that they feathered in some clear that was wanting to peel.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to see whether I need to put color there or not. And it just kind of allows you, it gives you something for your base coat to kind of land it and settle it correctly. But it's also a good visual indicator for me because I see almost what it's going to look like with clear. And as I'm laying my base, I'm seeing how it's orienting and that it's looking correct.
Okay.
So awesome. that's what that clear stuff right there is.
Sounds good.
All right. So now I'll start ground coating these right here as this is drying. And then by the time I get done there, hopefully I'll be able to just keep jumping that way, we just for the sake of keeping going.
Awesome.
Possibly get away with it, but that color I have is tinted special for it, so I want to make sure I don't run out. It's not bad, it's just slightly more transparent than I thought it would be, so I've learned my lesson the hard way trying to stretch it. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Good.
All right, so we'll give this a couple minutes to flash off, and then we'll be down to our last 1 to 2 coats. Spray one more full coat, and then possibly a drop coat just to orient all the metallics and everything. Awesome. Should be good to go. My final check I always do with the lights off. You can see how, you can see right there.
Oh yeah.
Where the primer's still showing, just because of the reason that I'm trying to keep it light right there. But other than that, everything else is going pretty well. So.
Yeah, it is a nice color. It's really nice seeing this color brand new. You know?
Exactly, yeah. Shut the lights off and do a walk around with it. I like to be able to walk around, check everything, like make sure everything's covered, looks good. I might actually jump to those after this, get those first coat, and I'll walk them back out of the way, and then I'll get them back out for my last coat. Maybe jockeys. Yeah, this is borderline a little tighter. Normally I would maybe chuck those in with something else, but I will be fine.
What a cool experience that was to be inside the paint booth while Kenny got that car sprayed up. You know, getting to see that clear coat going on, asking him questions, watching the base coat go on. That was really a neat experience, and I'm really happy I got to see that. I've learned a hell of a lot this video, and I hope you guys have too, because I wanted to give you the real inside experience of what actually happens when you bring a car in for paint and body work, you know? Originally I thought just, oh yeah, supply the hood, supply the bumper, hit it with some primer, hit it with some paint. Boy, was I wrong. There is so much more that goes into painting the car. You saw it. Sanding down the bondo, tapping down all the high spots, sanding down the clear on the fenders, blending into those. It goes on and on. All right, guys, the BMW is out of the paint booth. These fenders look absolutely amazing. I can literally not even see the difference between the old door and the new fender. The paint match is superb. So we're gonna let things cure overnight. We got the hood over here curing, the bumper and the headlight trim, and we're gonna be back down here tomorrow morning to start the reassembly process. I'll see you then. Let's get to work. Perfect example here of poor craftsmanship on this last paint job. Someone just painted over the push pins, and you can see the paint had poor adhesion to these push clips. They should have disassembled this entire front bumper and painted it properly, like Quality Body Works did. headlight bezels. See about putting these side markers back in. We had to buy a new genuine trim piece here because the other one was broken. All right, before we kick out of here for the day, see if we can get this thing back in. All right, gang, that's a wrap for today. We'll be back down tomorrow morning to get the hood installed, the fender wells, and we're ready to go.
The next day.
All right, let's get this car finished up, shall we? I think that should hold. Yeah, I'll throw a rear end. Wow, that hood fits so much better now. Check these body lines, pretty good there. This side's tighter, so we're gonna need to shift things over. So we need to bring the hood to passenger side. It's actually really spot on right there. I don't want to go much more than that because I'm actually happy with it. So let's keep that locked in exactly where it is. All right, this part's a little sketchy. Gapping is great, it's just the hood release doesn't want to stay. All right, now we're going to be installing these new louvers and then both fender liner covers. Final touch. They did not ask me to put these on. I just thought it was a slick looking sticker and this business is worth representing after this video project. These guys are so awesome. I had such a good time hanging out down here. Quality humans, quality body works. Yeah, what do you think?
Looks good, man.
I think it came out great. The paintwork is absolutely phenomenal. As far as like the blending from the fenders into the doors go with the tinting, like in the sunlight, in the shade, it came out so nice. I'm so super happy with it. Fender wells are all in, air louvers and everything. I just misordered the wrong side fender liner. And I think
you? Darn it.
So I got one more part coming.
It's always something, huh?
I think that just goes to show too, there is a really nice factor to having someone like you guys do it from start to finish. You know,
yeah, there's a lot of little details that, you know, if you don't do them every day, really easy to miss or, you know, just headaches.
Yeah, absolutely. All in all, I'm super happy. So thanks again for letting me be a part of this process.
Yeah, this was fun.
I learned so much, and I'm really hoping that the viewers are going to learn a lot too, because this is the most inside look I've ever had at a collision center body shop type experience. With the paint, glazing, body work, refinishing the hood, stripping down the 3 layers. Came out really nice.
Awesome.
If anybody wants to come down for any work or get in touch with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
As far as our shop, we're open Monday through Friday.
Cool.
Estimates, we can do estimates. We don't need appointments. Anytime between 8 and 4:30.
All right.
Swing on by and we can put our eyes on it. And that's 9 times out of 10, that's the best way to go. It's sometimes people want to send photos, and we can accept photos and we can talk to you over the phone, but looking at the car, we can point things out, you know, because over the phone, we wouldn't have seen some of the issues on these fenders without you and me, you know, being able to really look it over.
You guys got a website?
Yeah, qualitybodyworks.com.
Qualitybodyworks.com.
Or follow us on our social medias at QBW Eureka.
QBW Eureka on Instagram. Just Instagram? Facebook?
We're on Facebook as well, and
Cool.
we're putting a lot of our stuff and trying to be pretty active on those medias. And
yeah, you guys are coming out with some great short form content.
Yeah, thank you.
Head over to their Instagram, Facebook, give them a follow. You won't be disappointed. Thanks again, Ross.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get out of your hair. Time to get this car out of your shop, back to mine.
Right
and,
on.
yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
We made it back home and look at this finish. The body lines and blending came out great, but now we need to fix the rest of the car and make it match. So we're gonna do a soft wash on this thing. We're not gonna touch the hood, the fenders, or the bumper. That needs time to clear and it doesn't need washing. We're gonna scrub the rest of the car, all the other panels that weren't painted, and then we're gonna hit it with a clay bar and then a ceramic wax. All right, the boys at Quality Body Works said do not even touch it with a mitt, just rinse it off with water and use compressed air afterwards to just knock it all off. It should be really hydrophobic, just like a ceramic wax. So we're not gonna touch the hood, the fenders, or the bumper. All right, we're gonna hit the car with this Chemical Guys heavy clay bar and a Chemical Guys clay lube. All right, the entire car is clay barred, including the roof. Now I'm gonna bring it outside for another wash and then back in for a wax. All right, now that the car is washed again, it's time to go back up and we'll hit it with a ceramic wax. For this step, we're gonna use some Chemical Guys Hydro Slick Ceramic Coating Hyper Wax. Boy, this car has come a long way. What a beautiful transition from before to after. We put a really nice wax on it, we clayed it, we washed it twice, we hit some tire shine, cleaned up the glass. Eric's coming in 2 days to come pick this thing up, so hang around, let's get his reaction and get this car back to him.
2 days later.
It's beautiful, it's perfect.
The paint
It's
job on the
just
hood is
perfect.
phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
It came out really, really good.
I mean, right when you pulled up, it just blew my mind.
Oh yeah. So right now this is
contrast with
unwaxed,
yeah.
unsealed.
Yeah.
So game plan is to keep it that way for like 60 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can throw a wax or whatever on it. So
Yeah.
bumper, fenders are all
Gotcha.
untreated.
The rest looks great, man. It's just the way you blended it, and then the wax job on the back really shined it
It
up,
actually
man.
really made it pop.
Yeah,
I was
it
really
totally
surprised.
looks, yeah.
And I think we have a really nice finish, equal finish on both sides as
Yeah.
far as the body lines go.
Come on, Alec.
But-
Thank you so much. I'm gonna keep saying that over and over.
No, you got it.
It's just amazing.
And,
yeah.
The fog swapped over, and then all these three are new.
Yep.
We have those louvers now, so that air is actually being directed down into the fender wells, which I'll
Totally.
show you when we get it up.
Wow, look how clean that is.
And yeah, so let me get
nuts.
the lift under this bad girl real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we'll get the hood popped. So the kidney grills swapped over, roundel swapped over.
Yep.
All that, nothing new. But if you do want to refresh this and give it a little pop, we can get one for cheap online.
Yeah, they're not too bad. In fact, I got that one a while back.
So
It's
yeah, like I said,
totally dry.
it's totally dry.
That's
You'll see from
crazy.
underneath too. We'll get the underbody panel pulled off and so you can really see.
Yeah.
Let's see what work was done on the top end. The radiator and the expansion tank were replaced this visit, as well as this louver piece for the front fan.
Oh, yeah,
This was
perfect.
all chipped and broken up,
It
but when
was.
I had the bumper off, it fit in nicely.
Yep.
Mass airflow sensor was replaced with the OE Continental. And then that sucking jet pump piece that I replaced for that vacuum leak
Yeah, you found the smoke check.
is right back here.
Okay.
It's where that vacuum hose connects to the brake booster.
I watched all that content.
Yeah.
That was great, but that wasn't easy to get to either.
And then I'm pretty sure all the other work after that fact was pretty much all down below. This was a big down bottom focus trip.
It's just so strange to see no oil anywhere. It's just so clean.
Oh, underneath will be a real treat.
It was really fun watching how you replace these.
Yeah. So those shiny control arms.
Yep. The
New
control
control arm bushings.
And the bushings, yep. God damn. That's great.
Oil pan should be nice and bone dry.
It is. You
Oil
got
level
200
sensor
miles
back
on it?
there was replaced too.
Oh yeah, where is that?
Right,
right
there,
there
on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a new seal, new sensor.
Yeah.
Torque to spec on there.
Well, and then how you got up to the shifter was pretty neat.
Yeah, that was
Getting in there. You hadn't been in there before, had you?
not on this one, no. And so yeah, we put in these new bellows too. So outer tie rod's new, and then the inner tie rod with that joint I showed you will be under here.
Okay.
And so
that's what you just did today
that's
or yesterday?
what I did yesterday.
Yeah, that looks great. Oh, Alec, it's so clean in here. This is nuts.
It doesn't look like 196K anymore.
It sure doesn't.
That's for sure.
That oil pan gasket looks beautiful.
Yeah, and then, you know, this high pressure power steering hose was getting all oil saturated, but it was refreshed from last visit.
That's nuts.
And so now that'll really help with longevity.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to be oil saturated anymore.
And this is the flex disc right here?
Yep.
Look at that.
So that's that renewed flex disc, and then if you look just below that, that cross member that goes through, that joining point there, those are the two new transmission mounts.
Right.
Those were oil saturated and micro cracked.
Yep.
And then behind the flex disc was the output shaft seal. Which was, that whole back of that trans was pretty wet.
Oh, there's where the stick shift is, right there.
And then if you follow that rod towards the trans, there'll be a little cylinder that comes out up there. And that'll be the shift shaft.
Yeah.
And then that's where we went up and replaced that shift shaft seal.
I can see it. Oh, and I see where the water comes.
Yeah, you see the drain?
Yeah, that's the air conditioning drain right there.
Little spider drain.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that will be for the evaporator. But I'm just in love with how these front pork chops are mating up to this front bumper now. And these louvers now, you can see here, they capture air
that looks
from the
great.
backside, run through.
I'm so glad we did that. Yeah.
The alternator ties off of that louver, and then it also runs to this exit here.
Yeah.
That will bring air to the back of the wheel for some brake cooling, because those were completely missing. They had the inside halves, but they kind of like clipped together in a clamshell design. So now this is like super stout, and you can also see here too, the ambient air temperature was just like zip tied up, but now we have the factory location back.
Perfect.
It slips down and clips into that little.
That's cool. That's
piece
what that
there.
is. Ambient air temperature.
Yeah.
Outside air temperature, we say in aviation.
Yep.
OAT.
And so the passenger is the one that's missing the fender well. But,
Yep. I can see that.
Once that comes
That's coming. Yeah.
Once that comes in, it'll be easy slap in.
I'll pop back by. I can't believe how the shifter was a great.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know how bad it was until you replaced it. It was just so loose.
And there was a little rattle with the exhaust once I first got it, but having that pulled off and reinstalled, got that fixed. We did the new tail light bulb carrier in the rear too.
That's right. I'm the luckiest guy in the world to have met you, Alec. There's just no two ways. None of this would have happened without you.
I'm lucky to get you as a customer.
Possible.
Customer and coworker, man.
Happy to be a supporter, man. And yeah, we miss the hell out of you at the base. It's for sure. You know you'll always be welcome back.
Yeah, I miss it too.
Beautiful. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think we're at a really, really good.
Come on.
Really good stopping point.
This car feels the love, Alec. No question. I know it's small. It doesn't compare to what you've done, but this is a fresh version of the Ronerville, the hoodie.
I've been blowing them out. You should see
my
jacket.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right
Thanks,
on.
man.
And then this one, this is the pilot shirt.
This is a new
Not
color.
everybody gets the pilot shirt.
Sick, man.
Check the tanker pilot shirt.
Yeah, a little OV10 in the tanker.
And the tanker making a drop.
That's really cool.
Cal Fire Pilots.
Awesome. Thanks,
That's
man.
for you. Thank you, man.
This was just a running list of some extra costs that I had. The mass airflow sensor, which was done post-repair. And this is just all cost on parts. The regulator, that was installed.
Yep.
The splash guards, and then I ended up returning the splash guards, adding on different ones. It was the shifter, some fuel, and then tie rods, some little pins that went in.
All the stuff, yeah.
And then the fender molding shifter cup.
Right.
And so I'm happy. I hope that you'd be happy with the numbers
so
and
happy,
everything
man.
too.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be an investment in this car. It's totally worth it, man.
For sure. But
that's it.
I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding that the investment paid off.
Oh, yeah.
And this thing is just like so mechanically sound
sick.
and so pretty and ready to go. Like
I
the
can't
front end
wait.
was beat before. It was really beat.
I know.
And now it's just so cherry.
She'd been through it.
Yeah. Final look at the front end.
That thing's killer. I'm your biggest fan, man.
Bro,
Always will be.
#1 customer, #1 supporter.
Dude, thank you so
Enjoy
much.
it. Enjoy it, man.
I sure will.
Yeah. Look at that finish. Beautiful. Well guys, that is a wrap. Eric is so pumped. He's such a good dude, such a big supporter, such a great customer. I'm incredibly grateful for him. Also, none of this would have been possible without Quality Body Works. Ross, big thank you to you for giving me the opportunity to work with you guys, being able to shadow veteran painter Kenny, being able to work with the other Kenny on the body side of things as he was fixing up the hood, tapping down those high spots, doing glaze and bondo work, being able to talk to Roland about the rock chips and blending down into the fenders. I learned so much from you guys, and I am just really, really grateful for the experience. If you guys are looking for any body work in the North Coast, or if you just want to come out for a trip up here to the Redwoods and also have your car worked on at the same time, don't forget to check out Quality Body Works in Eureka, California. Those guys are an absolute class act. They are the cleanest shop that I have ever seen between mechanical repair and body shop, and I think that just speaks volumes. You go to a shop where they take good care of their guys, they take good care of their shop, they stay organized, the quality of work is always going to be there, and they really stay true to their name, and I think it just shows in all the work that they do. So check out Quality Body Work online, check out their socials, and please give them a follow for me. It would mean the absolute world. I hope you guys enjoyed, or I hope you learned something new, and as always folks, I will see you on my next day off. Cheers.